All right, guys, super exciting episode for you today, the 39th recorded episode. Christian and I picked some really interesting topics to talk about. I talked about, or wanted to talk about with the group, living inside of the solution. So in our lives, in the everyday hustle, in work, in personal lives, in relationships, there are always problems that are going to come up. So we talked about how we stay living in the solution and what you could do to basically keep that positive mental attitude, live inside of the solution, not stay in the problem, and always stay moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the topic I want to talk about, it actually kind of runs along with that, which is taking ownership of your happiness. And basically what that is essentially kind of similar as far as your mentality, being grateful and staying in gratitude, and kind of how you carry yourself in that regard. So yeah, this episode was really fun, man. We had a lot more than just those two topics that we talked about. So we hope you guys get a lot out of this.
All right, let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Everyday Hustle Show, where we're figuring it out together over time. On the show, we'll be giving you the tools you need to take your career and life to the next level. So get ready for interviews and topics that will give you a competitive edge against the shuffle we call life. Sure, we might get into some heavy topics, but we also like to laugh and have a fun time too. Are you ready for the show? Here's your hosts, Jesse, Andrew, and Christian.
All right, we're rolling.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Everyday Hustle Show. My name is Christian. Tonight is episode 39.
Wow.
And just want to check in with everybody. Jesse, how you feeling tonight?
Good morning, everybody. I'm actually, I'm freaking great. I'm a shining example of human excellence.
Oh.
I'm the pinnacle of human perfection.
Oh.
I am...
Jesse Drewer.
I forget what I was going to say. I was going to say I'm God. I don't remember. Something like that.
All right.
I'm great.
Wow.
What about you, Drew?
Dude, such a huge week, man. I can't wait to get into this.
Yep.
And get up and get caught up with you guys and just dive into these topics that we got noted down. We got no guests tonight.
No guests.
Just the boys in here getting caught up.
Yeah.
Raw, uncut.
Ooh.
We about to dive into it.
Okay. All right.
I'm about to dive into it.
And just before we get into all that, just wanted to give a very brief cut real quick. We're going to go ahead and get a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by D Squared Media. D Squared Media specializes in branding and design, web design and development, and internet marketing, social media search engine optimization, and pay-per-click.
Okay.
Business cards, logo designs, a revamped website, and getting on Google with SEO are a few examples of what D Squared Media can do.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you could check out their portfolio at dsquaredmedia.net, or you could take a look at our website, which actually was just completely redone by them, theeverydayhustleshow.com. You could check out current episodes. You could check out a little bit of a bio on each of us. You could check out some past episodes and some people who have been on the show. No matter what your budget is for a project, D Squared Media will be able to get you going in the right direction and help you accomplish your goal. Listen, guys, supporting small businesses is how we grow as entrepreneurs, all right? So reach out to Danny and his team today. All Everyday Hustle Show listeners are going to get 10% off their first invoice with the code EDH. All right, we're back. First off, congratulations to @Broski27 for taking home the Everyday Hustle hat. All hustle, no luck. This was the very, very first ever embroidered hat. So big shout out to him for listening, following us on Instagram, tagging his friends, following along with the journey. We're very, very excited to have you on board with us. Can't wait to get your hat. When you get that hat, I want to see a selfie.
Yeah.
Take a selfie, DM it to us so we can post it on our page. It means a lot. And Jesse, if somebody who actually wanted to buy a hat to support the podcast, or maybe a t-shirt or something like that, where would they be able to pick one up?
I believe that is andrewnyes.com/shop.
Yo.
That is ANDREWNYCZ.com/shop.
Get it.
So, a few different things that we're going to be getting into on the show this week. First thing I wanted to do, first topic was living inside of the solution.
I like the sound of that.
Jesse, when you hear that, what comes into your head?
When you say solution, I just picture work right now because it's just full of problems.
Yep.
I had a guy quit on me tonight at 1 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just straight walked out?
No, he didn't show up. 5 minutes before he was supposed to be there, he sent me a text and then immediately shut his phone off.
Wow.
I tried calling him and fucking phone shut off. I'm like, come on, man.
So wait, is there like a black what is it called? Where you basically like put the word out to other companies where they won't blacklist. Thank you. Where they won't hire him.
No,
Well, he won't be able to put it as a reference.
Yeah, we don't really have that
That's
close of relationships with any competing companies.
That's true. That makes sense.
But I took kind of special pride in this guy because he was like the first guy that I hired that actually was working out, like doing really good. I really liked him, and then he left. So I'm like, I've had no luck with
It burns, right?
I've had no luck with hiring people.
And the fucked up thing is that when he goes to the competitor company, right, they don't care about a reference. They're going to want to hire him because he knows
That's
the
true.
ropes.
Yeah. And
You know?
we trained him for a month.
Dude, that's how it
But
is
he
in
had
every industry,
experience,
though. It's
though.
like, oh, hey, you worked for this company? Like, great, we don't need to check any references or call anybody. As long as you know how to do what we're
Right.
paying you to do.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
just
I'm guilty of the exact same thing because he came to me.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I got this,
You've hired
this
someone,
experience,
probably.
this experience, and I didn't check anything. I just was like took his word and I hired him, and he was being truthful because I could tell he had experience, but it just sucks, man.
Yeah.
He was a good dude.
So I said living in the solution, you came up with work. I mean, obviously everybody kind of has problems at work, you know, problems in their personal life, whatever it might be. So talk to me about when you have some issues at work, you know, some problems and you need some solutions at work. I mean, how mentally, where does your mind go when you hit a problem? How do you deal with it? And how do you try to stay in the solution, or how do you come up with solutions?
Well, I mean, I guess I've had some experience in dealing with certain problems, but I guess like now as the manager, you have to like take another outlook on things. You know, if it's a problem between two people, before I'd just be like, oh, this guy's being a pain in the ass, you know, like it's no big deal. But now you have to like, whether you think in that instance, whether you think somebody is necessarily right or wrong, you have to look at both sides of the story because there's always two sides to the story and kind of find some kind of middle ground. But as far as, I mean, honestly, I feel like most days and probably most of my coworkers feel like, you know, most of our job is like putting out fires in senses like just shit, one thing after another will happen, or, you know, something needs to be fixed or this and that. And it's, I mean, in a business, a lot of times, depending on what the problem is, like it could affect production. You know what I mean? So like, it kind of takes priority. Some things take priority over others, but I don't know what's the question.
No, you did good, bro. You did good. I mean, listen, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of times when people hit issues or they hit like roadblocks along the way, they kind of get paralyzed by it.
Yeah, no.
You know?
I mean, because like I said, depending on what it is, like if it's something that like we can't operate until this problem is solved, then obviously like, you know, we got to get on it. But the good thing about at least my company is if it's something outside of like my direct knowledge, like there's people to call in different areas. So if it's something technical,
so part of your living in the solution is relying on the team that was put in,
and we have
whoever
like
was put in those positions.
we have a good,
so you reach out
good
for help.
group of people, and you know, depending on whether it's something technical or mechanical, I have a mechanic. Whether if it's technical, we have QC people or engineers. If it's HR, you know, like I either consult with my direct supervisor, or you know, if I can handle it on my own, I handle it on my own. But like. And then other than that, like I've had other managers or peers who, you know, are there for me and I have a good relationship with. Like when something comes up that is a first for me, you know, I have people I can go to and rely on. And I can count on that.
I had a few really big things happened for me this week, right? So they finished the plumbing job at the juice bar, right? Completely finished, right? They start to basically it cost a couple $1,000s to purchase a sink, install it, hook it up to an existing drain, and get everything running, right? They finish the job. They turn the water on. Okay, great. They keep running the water. It's not going through the drain.
Oh, really?
Right? So I'm like, oh, fuck. So we got all this work. We went through the permitting, everything, and then it's not working. And the guy's kind of like, oh, well, I did what you paid me to do this, and that's what I did. And he was like, he kind of didn't want to troubleshoot it, so that's when I had to call. So I'm thinking, okay, problem, solution, call somebody else. I call Nick. Shout out to Nicholas Kowalski, Green Team Plumbing. We got to get him out of the podcast. But shout out to him. His team came out, called him. His team came out the next day, figured it out in an hour. The drain runs to the outside of the building and is capped. Not connected to the sewer, right? So now I'm like, oh, fuck, boys. Now we're really up shit's creek. You know what I'm saying? So we got a line that's connected to the sink, and everything is on the inside looks spick and span. On the outside, they're gonna have to dig a hole, whether it's in this concrete or through the street or whatever, to get this line connected to the sewer.
And if it's in concrete, that can be pricey.
Millions.
Not millions, but it could be a lot.
But this guy didn't complete the
a
job
lot.
then, right? That's not.
Well, that's kind of a tricky area because
Exactly.
your lease probably says something along the lines is like sold or leased as is. And, it kind of probably takes a little bit of both sides, like where
Well, I think Christian was asking about the plumber. Yes, the plumber did the job. I paid him to do a job. He completed the scope of the work. What he gave me an estimated price for. He did everything.
Right, if he would have known up front that he
didn't
had
know.
to tap in something outside. The quote
All
pro.
he knows is what we told him, and all I knew was what
Right.
the people who we paid the space for told me was the drain was put in when the building was there, and everything was good to go. Right?
Personally, I think if they're trying to say they're not responsible for the cost of that, it should at least be like a 50-50 thing.
Right. So I already listen. I've learned so much in the short time from, when I got laid off into my job, from LLC, my first company, to trying to start this business. Right. So we have an attorney, we have a lawyer on retainer that we pay. I said, look, you got to pull our sublease, which is only 5 pages. Right. It's nothing extreme. Right. You need to look at this, and I need to know if I'm liable to pay for this or what. And he's like, really? The verbiage in there doesn't say that you are, but it doesn't say that he isn't. So it has to be like some kind of agreement where it's like, like 50-50 or something like that. And I told him, I said, look, and he kind of like spoke to me from like, and I respect him. He's been very straightforward and upfront so far. This is the guy who actually owns the gym, right? So he doesn't own the building. He owns the gym, and then there's a building owner above him, right? So he's like, look, it's always going to cost more than you thought it would. It's always going to take longer than you thought it would. He said, get open, get the work done, and then we'll figure it out. We'll come to an agreement. So he didn't say, no, he's not going to pay for anything, but he didn't say, yes, I got you. So
But he wants you to start without that being completed?
No. He's saying get the plumbing work done, do whatever you need to do, get the business open. When you're ready to turn the lights on, ready to start, and you have a final bill of what it costs, then we'll talk about
That's
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get an estimate for the job.
And I would get something in writing because down the road, yeah.
So you don't want to go on a handshake, but I'm waiting on blueprints. I need blueprints from this guy, that guy, all this stuff to give to the plumber so that way he can survey the land, find out if there's any power lines, anything, right? And they got to do all that, right? But the bottom line is look, I had a problem. I called this person, working on a solution, and now it's not fixed by any means, but it's definitely. I've taken the motion for it. I can't just let it, oh, shit, what am I going to do? Guess what? I still got to fucking pay rent no matter what happens, so I better figure it out, And then another situation was we applied for the Department of Agriculture, which they're the people who come in and certify you for, like, cleanliness and all that stuff, right? So we put the application in, and we didn't expect to hear back from anyone for a few weeks. They said it takes 2 weeks, right? The guy called us yesterday, and he's like, oh, aren't you at the spot where, X, Y, and Z was? And I said, yeah. He knew him from last time he went a couple years ago. He's like, I'm on my way. I'll come there right now. I said, okay. I wasn't thinking, right? I said, okay. And I'm like, oh, shit, we got a fucking drain that's clogged. We got a place that's nowhere near ready to be open. Problem. It's a problem, So what did I do? I said, okay, you let me know when you'll be here, and I'll be here. He came, right? He did the inspection. I was just honest with him. I said, look, I said, the drain's just draining a little slow right now, but we got hot, we got cold. I said, is the sink up to code? And he said, yeah. He went to the bathroom, tested the sinks, he looked at everything. He's like, and then at the end of it, he's like, that's good. You're ready to open.
Wow.
Yeah, right then I said, damn. So like the old me, right, would have told him, dude, hey, I'm sorry, we're not ready. You can't come here, blah blah blah, and it would have just delayed the whole process, weeks, more, months.
Yeah, you don't have to pay like a charge for him to come out, right? That kind of thing.
It's all done through the
Just
state.
take a chance, man.
We have to pay a yearly fee.
Right.
To have I don't know, whatever it is, you pay a fee to have a little sign printed in your place that says it's inspected by the Department of Agriculture, which is like the Board of Health, same thing. Like for cleanliness, they make sure all your equipment's working. They make sure that you got signs that say wash your hands. They make sure you got hot and cold water, and they make sure that the place isn't infested with bugs or whatever.
Well, that's good. That's 1 out of 2 problems solved.
That's it, all in one day. So it was like, minor setback. And I don't harp on all the little problems because it's always been problems that, we've had a lot of problems along the way.
Business, man.
Exactly. But the thing is we're running out of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the pressure's going up. The stress is going up. Baby's a few months away from being born.
Game time. It's almost game time.
You know what I'm saying? So like, dude, I can't fork out another $3,000-$4,000 from to dig a hole in the street to connect the pipe to the sewer when the landlord told me that it was functional.
Right.
And the other thing,
But I should have researched it, man. I should have tested the drain. I should have had a plumber come out.
but how would you?
I try to look at my part in it.
How would you have known that?
Dude, the pipe comes out of the building and is like sitting right there.
You can see it?
You could see it, yeah, but it's like, the plumber had to he had one of those, a locator, is it called?
That I have no clue.
Basically, it's like a sonar thing that has like 3 balls on it. Almost looks like a metal detector that they use on the beach, but they could see where the pipes are in the ground.
Yeah.
He followed it all the way out, and he found that it was outside. The end was outside, and it was a little bit buried by the dirt. He just kind of dug it up. So really, I probably would have never been able to find it.
Yeah.
But, and the thing is like, oh, you say, oh, maybe I should have tested the drain. Well, if I took a gallon of water and dumped it into the drain, it would have went down to the end of the cap.
You had to dump like 10 gallons of water for it to fill.
Yeah, it's 100 feet. It's 100 feet of 3-inch pipe. So, but that's enough. That's enough out of me, dude. That's enough, bro.
Dude,
Chris,
it'll fix itself. Not fix itself.
Chris,
but.
tell us about how you stay in solution.
I mean, it really, for me, it depends. I mean, like, for example, Jesse's brought this up plenty of times. My AC in my truck is still not fixed after,
Dude, I challenged you to fix it like 4 months
after
ago.
like 4 years, it's still not fixed. So it depends. I mean, stuff like that, stuff that I consider not really, it should be a priority because, like my girlfriend doesn't really like riding in it. And it's kind of like, we take her car when we go out to places or whatever sometimes, and
Dude,
it's kind of
frickin',
it's kind of weird.
Freaking Aunt Warner built an AC unit out
That's
of a
true,
cooler
I've
and
seen
a
that.
freaking fan.
I did see that.
You need to get on that level.
So in certain aspects, like that, if I don't deem it a priority, I don't take care of it. But in terms of just overall in general, I don't stay like in a bad mood for too long, for like longer than a day. So there's nothing really like specific that I can think about, but just in terms of like my overall mood, in most cases I get angry throughout the day, like just like everybody else. I get, pissed off, and but again, it doesn't last that long because I just kind of, it's almost like natural now, but it definitely took practice. But basically just a whole like attitude of gratitude and just kind of, being grateful for just a little stuff. And it, like I said, it's natural now to the point where it just almost like second nature. I just kind of remember, little shit that I'm grateful for. So I guess
Perspective.
Yeah, perspective. So it's not really too much anything in specific that I can think of, but just overall my mood is living in the solution.
Cool. Yeah, that's staying positive.
Yeah, that's it.
Touche.
Yeah.
So you jotted down something here in the book that you want to talk about. Let's segue into that.
Definitely.
Christian's Corner, not Crane's Corner. Christian's Corner.
All the OGs that remember Crane's Corner, give us a shout out. Let us know if you remember that.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah, so
There's a podcast that I really like, and I don't want to rip them off, but the way they have it structured is they do a little intro, you know, a little small talk, whatever, sponsors, kind of just like we just did, and then they each have their own segment.
Oh, okay.
Like you would have your own segment called whatever it is that you want. I would have my own segment. Jesse would have it,
Crane's
Crane's
Corner.
Corner, Christian's freaking whatever. And then, you know, Andrew's whatever. And then after that, they have the main event, which is like one topic that they all talk about. It's pretty cool. I mean, we can rip it off if we want. We can message them and ask them if they wouldn't mind. I like the way it is because it's like it gives each person the opportunity to
bring
like
something.
Yeah. I mean, Jesse would never bring anything.
Nah, dude.
But
I think he would. But
Would
it
I?
would just be obscure.
yeah, it would be some off the wall type stuff.
That sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool though.
Yeah. All right, but back to what did you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, so I mean, it actually just goes back to what I was just saying before, as far as like, you know, gratitude, and we actually brought this up in an episode a long time ago, and we were talking about like the debate, I guess, or the difference between like, you know, people who are like depressed and people who are happy, and kind of like what's the difference. And at the time, my whole like theory or what I wanted to stay away from was talking about like people with like mental health issues. And so that's why I was kind of like, well, I'm not really sure, you know, I'm definitely happy, but I think I might be, you know, have just been like blessed or whatever to be like naturally happy. And you, Drew, you mentioned something, you said something about like, you know, yeah, that's true, but there are things that you do in your life that help with like your happiness, you know, help bring happiness to you. So that's basically the topic, you know, that's something I was thinking about today or the past week actually. And, you know, the whole like being proactive in my happiness, like it really is something that I try to do like on a daily basis.
So what are things that you do on the daily that help you live in that mindset?
So basically it really, just what I said before as far as gratitude, you know, just remembering things that I'm grateful for, like the whole attitude of gratitude. Again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite in certain things. Like, for example, if I was really grateful for my truck, I would have gotten the AC fixed, or I would have, you know, done certain things to keep it up to par or whatever. But just in terms of like my overall mood, you know, like my the way I carry myself, and like the way I at work too. It's all I try to keep it as consistent as possible, and it really is for me like happiness. For me at this point is really just being like in love with the process and in love with like where I'm at now. And as long as I remind myself of that as much as I can, it just makes it easier, you know, because there's some days where I'm like kind of like down or whatever, and I'm like, damn, you know, like I see someone post something on like Instagram, like they're traveling or whatever, and that's like what I want to do. I want to travel more, and it's like, fuck, man, like, you know, I'll like think like, oh man, like for not for long, but just for a little bit, you know, like why can't I do that, or you know, like
you get a little
envious,
envious,
jealous,
right.
and then again, that's where I like bring myself back, and I'm like, all right, well, at least I'm not dead, first of all. You know, I have like a chance, so I'm not dead. I'm not using. You know, I have good, and I just remember like the good things that I have in my life, and it's like, it's crazy how quick it snaps me back out of that, and it's like, all right, you know, just relax. Like, yeah, I may not be traveling the world and like have like, you know, a crazy business that's like making millions or whatever, but I'm like, you know, I just remember all the good things I have with my girlfriend, you know, like the little stuff, and it almost like the perspective shift. It almost like takes that weight off my shoulders. You know, like I still have hopes and dreams, and I still have things that I want to do, ambitions, but it's like just to be okay with where I'm at now and to be in love with the process, because I know like once I'm, you know, get certain things in life that I believe I'm gonna get eventually, it's not gonna like, you know, end that like whole, you know, like happiness isn't gonna come with that, whatever the result is. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about, is just to be like in the moment and you know what I do to stay happy.
Well, controversial topic. You talk about, you know, Instagram or social media and people traveling and posting there. They only post shit on there that they want to share, that they want you to see, so that you feel envious or you feel jealous. They might not post that they're getting divorced, or they have fucking $50,000 in credit card debt, or whatever it is. You don't know the whole story, right? And I think a lot of people talk about this topic, and I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but it's very easy for people to portray a fake lifestyle through the internet today to make people feel envious and feel
Right.
jealous when it's not real.
It's kind of what I like phased away from.
Yeah, dude, you're not on it at all.
I really don't give a shit anymore about Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, it just seems like a lot of people just, painting this picture of what their life may or may not be. And I mean, the only reason I keep it is just to kind of keep in contact with friends and family, and
Right.
see what's going on with them around.
I've been trying to use it more and more for just business.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You know?
there are a lot of people that, like you said, that do that. But I, again, try not to be hypocritical. I looked at it from, what I post and like things that I do on Instagram and Facebook, and for me, it's more so on the side of just wanting to put out like positive or positivity, and so it's like, I don't know. I think there are a lot of people that do that, but I think they're on the flip side, there are people that post stuff that are may look grandiose or whatever, but it's just putting that positivity out that it can happen. I like to think, at least, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll pat myself on the back a little bit right
Get
here
it.
because I posted a picture a couple months back, and I was looking through my feed, right? And it's a picture of me backflipping a jet ski, right? And I said, this is a perfect example of people portraying things on Instagram. This is the finished story, the end of the story, right? This
Right,
is
right.
the finished
I
product.
see.
Sorry, is what I meant to say. This is the finished product. You see me out here flipping the jet ski, right? You don't see hours and hours of fucking bloody knuckles and wrenching, and Jesse knows the frustration that comes with that, the countless amounts of money that you dump into it, the sprained necks from hitting them on the bottom of the freaking ocean, whacking your knee on the fucking handlebars, you don't see all that because I haven't showed it to you. I just show you the finished product, and that's partially my fault for portraying it that way. But I say, look, like, here's the finished product, but this is what it took. This is how I got here, so you can't forget those moments that brought me to the finished
But
product.
if you follow Andrew Nyes, excuse me, if you follow Andrew Nyes on YouTube, you can see the whole progression
Oh, that's
over
true.
the last year.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. There's certain media outlets that are going to give you more than
Right.
others too, or certain social media outlets. But yeah, ASNYCZ on
get it.
YouTube for my YouTube channel.
Get it.
So Jesse, Christian wrote down taking ownership of your happiness. Kind of that was his segue and his part of the program today. Dude, take the ball, dude.
All I brought was tangerines.
He really did. For anyone that's not
I
here.
literally
Sitting here eating
brought
tangerines.
tangerines.
Okay, but for real, dude, you're generally a pretty happy guy. Well,
No, well, listen, no, I am.
Yeah, I think you've made some progression.
I've turned into positive Jess from negative Jess, but I still have my moments.
yeah, dude, I forgot about that. Everyone used to call you Negative Jess.
Kyle Swenson used to call me negative Jess.
Shout out to Kyle.
Shout out to Swims.
He survived Florence.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd you break through that stereotype of Negative Jess and change that perception of yourself to other people and even within your own mind to spread that positivity?
Well, because I think I became negative Jess from a lot of negative shit happening in my life over and over again. To the point where it was like, you kind of lose faith in yourself or in life in general, whether it's your fault or not. You start thinking like, my fucking life's never gonna be the way I want it to be, this, that, and the other. And things have progressively gotten better over the last 3 years, 2-3 years, to the point where life is pretty great right now. There's the only thing now is that I got I got personal goals for myself of financially, I want to be able to, do this or get a house or, it's those are my biggest problems now. Is I got to figure out how to how I can.
Do you think that if you buy a house or get to a point financially where you want to be, that is going to make you happier?
No, I'm saying right now I'm generally like pretty happy with everything in my life, my relationship,
Yeah.
my work, my career, and how that's going. You know, I like the people.
So what
I
are
work
things
with.
that you do in your life on a daily basis to help you maintain that happiness and that attitude of like, shit's okay?
Well, I guess I just
You vape a lot.
I just try to not let shit like get to me, because it's sometimes, especially lately at work, you know, it's just like shit goes on. It feels like we're bashing our heads against the wall. Like, not going to get into specifics, but you know, there's certain things that go on at work that like I don't necessarily understand or agree with, and it makes things like difficult. And you know, it just some days you like leave there like, you know, wanting to metaphorically jump off the Blue Heron Bridge, even though I would never do that. You know, sometimes you just like, you know, it's hard to like stay positive in that shit. But I mean, it is what it is, and I just like, you know, I just do what I'm gonna do and do this stuff and spend time with the people I want to spend time with, and it's not like, you know, life could be a lot worse.
So your relationship probably has a lot.
It has a
with.
lot to do with it, because I can.
Does Helena complete you?
I love Helene, dude. I do, because I can have.
Did I get real?
I can have
real
the
salt?
worst day ever at work.
Shout out to Helena. I just followed her on
me
IG.
too,
I
actually.
liked every picture on her stream.
Helene,
I didn't do that, but
Helene is freaking amazing, dude. No, because like I can have the worst day ever at work.
We got to have an episode where all of our significant others are on. We need. Do we have 6 mics?
Yeah, I have 6 mics.
Right?
We can do that.
All right, we'll plan that. We'll plan that out.
We can do that. That's actually a pretty good idea,
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah, we can do it.
But yeah, I mean, I can have the worst day ever, and then I just go hang with her, and it just kind
So
of my
spending
mind.
time with people. Seems like you really like animals.
Her dog, I love her dogs.
You
Both
love
of her
dogs.
dogs.
no, you don't like Bentley.
Dogs keep you
You don't
happy.
like Bentley.
I think eventually, you know, I kind of, I mean, I want to at some point, but kids probably would have a similar effect.
Baby
Even
Jets?
As
though,
animals.
what worries me though is like with kids, like I have this boss. Shout out to Todd, and
T, he's always listening. T,
no,
we see, brother.
he's a great dude, but he is so negative when it comes. He's just like,
Damn kids.
you know, he's always trying to tell me how, you know, when I get married that my relationship's gonna fall to shit, and you know, when I have kids they're great but they're gonna drive me crazy, and like he gets in my head with that shit a little bit, but he's kind of
Miserable.
he's like, you know, sometimes I have to stay away from him
Right.
at work because he makes me want to jump off the bridge sometimes. Just kidding. I love you, Todd.
It's strange. Most people when you say, oh, you know, you got a baby due when they come, blah, if they have kids, most of them are like, kids are gonna. It's the most amazing thing that's ever happened in my life.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, you know, in a similar sense, you know, having some sort of like life outside of whatever you do for work or whatever is like, it's like, you know, the same thing with anything else. It's balance of having and surrounding yourself with people that you love and care about. Whether you have the worst day ever and you split the second half of the day with being around the people you love, it's going to kind of balance out, you know? As long as you're
Yo, yin and yang.
as long as
My
you're
brother.
not making you know, choices that are, you know, that are counterproductive as far as where you want to be in life and where you want to go. Cuz that's a big part of it too. Is just making choices, you know, to just keep the flow of things going in the right direction where you want to go.
Wearing the uniform of the job you want to get.
Being the
Drewski's.
friggin' I don't know.
That was
I lost what I was
Drewski's.
saying.
Topic. What was that? A couple.
You know what I'm
episodes ago?
saying? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Shout out to fucking
guys-
Helene, dude. I love you,
Oh,
babe.
jeez. Oh, man.
Have you guys ever? Okay, a few things, and then we're gonna wrap this episode up. Jesse, do you know how long 600 bars is?
No, you
In
gotta
time?
change that
Okay.
counter to.
All right, so I don't know how long
I
it's
think
been.
it's like 40 minutes. around.
Okay, have you guys? Do you know Gerard Adams? Do you?
Nah, mate. I don't know.
Okay, we've been live for 27 minutes.
Mate.
Do you know? You never heard of him?
Nah.
Have you ever heard of Ed Milet?
I haven't
Ed
heard of it.
Milet. Nah, mate.
Okay, he's one of the top 50th wealthiest guys in the United States. or maybe in the world, I forget. But Gerard Adams has a YouTube series. Which is
I need to
extremely
get
Oh, and I think
incredible.
I've seen that.
I need to get into
Right.
that.
Listen, if anyone out there isn't a fan of cable TV but wants to watch like some really super interesting, 40-minute to 1 hour interviews with some shit that, listen, you would never see this type of shit on cable TV. This is why I love YouTube so much, right? You get Gerard's story is incredibly amazing, right? He was like, he had 20-something $million when he was like 24. He lost it all and then built a company, a website called Elite Daily, and sold it for $50 million. Right, a few years later, and then he basically just went back into the inner city of Newark and is like mentoring kids, and he started a few different companies. But anyway, this YouTube series that he does is called Leaders Create Leaders. Right, so you go on his YouTube page and check that out if you want to see some inspirational interviews with guys who Granted, some of them you might see on TV. Like, he just did Mel Robbins, right? I'm not a huge fan of hers.
Oh, yeah.
She has this thing called the 5-second
Yeah.
rule, where, like, you have 5 seconds to make a decision, and if you don't decide within that 5 seconds, like if you wake up and you hit the snooze button, and 5 seconds go by, you're gonna sleep for another 30 minutes. If you don't make that decision within 5 seconds, like, it's gonna alter the path and whatever. I think it's
for some people that
but
might work. Yeah, not everyone.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, but anyway, I really liked his interview with Ed Milet, which I wanted to talk about the gym. Right, because the gym is one of those things that is a steady thing in my life that helps me maintain my happiness, right? My mindset, positivity, energy flowing, blood flowing, mind to muscle connection, mind connection.
Okay.
It gets, when I get in the gym, it's stronger. It's just the bottom line. And he was 30 years old. Ed Milet was 30 years old. He went into the doctor, did like a heart scan, whatever. He was in really bad shape, right? Doctor told him he had arteries that looked like he was like 60 or 70, something like that. So like he had like this moment where he had to decide. And you look at this guy now, he's in incredible shape, right? So his whole mindset is like he maxes out everything. His whole little saying is like max out. Right, so he like maxed out in the gym. He maxes out in business. Whatever. It's a little bit cheesy, but if you watch this interview, you kind of understand this guy. And it was just really, really interesting how because you really wouldn't picture these two type of people together, Gerard and then this guy Ed Milet. He actually had a talk show, the Ed Milet Show. Look it up when you guys have a minute. But so when it comes to like health and wellness in the gym, I feel like that's a huge part of people. Maintaining happiness. Like you have to have that healthy body to have a healthy mind. And like I'm just a firm believer in
Yeah, I
it.
agree.
I'm like a firm believer that if you put shit in your body, you're gonna look like shit, feel like shit, perform like shit. And if you want to be on the top of your fucking game, you get in the gym.
You are what you eat.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're Chick-fil-A and
Yeah,
burger.
I'm in there, bro. I can attest from the other end as far as what you eat, because I eat. I try, but not that well. And yeah, like sluggish, like feeling.
Dude.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm at like a huge turning point with that. Like I made a doctor's appointment for Tuesday because I've been straight avoiding that for like 3 years. I just can feel.
What are you doing, like a physical and?
Doing a physical and blood work and stuff because I just feel like I feel worn down all the time, and it's just like I know
And you eat like
something's
shit
not
or what?
right. I've been eating a little better, but there's times where I eat like shit. So let's see what the doctor has to say. But I know I got to make like some changes with that.
Well, because how old are you now?
30 years young.
26.
And I'm 31. You're
26.
So if anyone was wondering our ages, there you go. There you go. But yeah, listen, you get to a point where you have to make those choices to make the change to keep your body healthy. And, listen, you exercise and you eat better, you're going to have more energy. Your happiness is going to be there. Your attitude's going to be better. Like it's these guys, right? They think so out of the box, right? Like if you watch that series, Leaders Create Leaders, and you watch some of the people on there, dude, they like it's like borderline corny, but I feel like it's so like I want to think like that. That's what I'm getting at. It's like they just get so fired up about everything, and it's like, like they're living at the fucking, this guy's like on fucking Laguna Beach and all this shit, and he's driving,
La Jolla and shit.
whatever it is. But it's like, dude, he got there from thinking like that,
and not caring
and
about
these
being
aren't
cheesy.
this is the opposite of of what we talked about with people portraying fake lives on social media. These are guys who are actually, you know, like living
Right.
that, you know. And Ed Milet actually said something super interesting. He's like, you don't really see the guys who have a lot of money, who are very, very wealthy. You don't see them out there like
Right.
that. They're not flashing that type of stuff.
They're trying
You
to be
know?
low
He's like,
key.
you don't really
yeah.
know. You don't know who's rich and who's broke. You know, the guy with the Lambo on Instagram and the fucking Rolex,
Right.
he's probably
yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
You know?
He won't show the tags, so that shit'll say rented. you know?
Exactly. So yeah, if anybody is like into this type of content and they enjoy our show and they want a little, listen, like some people have like a routine, right? It's like I'll get up in the morning, you know, I'll have some water, coffee, and like if there's a new episode of that on, boom, it's the first thing I do because this shit fires me up.
Start your day off.
You know, even the intro music and the way they film it and everything, like it's done by this guy Digital Jeff, who's like a producer that I really, really like. He's a guy that I've been following and stuff like that. But just the cinematography and the way they do everything and the music behind it, it does something for your mood. So, all right, you guys want to add anything else onto the 39th official recorded episode of the Everyday Hustle Show, who has just crossed over the 3,000 download mark?
All right.
Wow.
No, man, I'm excited, man. I'm really happy with this whole process with doing this podcast with you guys, and grateful for everyone who listens. So,
all right, listen, we have some awesome guests lined
Yeah.
up.
We do?
Got some, yeah, dude. We got some new gear. You know, we're invested in the podcast. We're invested in the process. We're invested in our mindset.
new website coming out.
We're gonna we got a new website dropping soon. We got, you know, some more guests from out of town coming on the podcast. Very, very exciting stuff for you guys. Appreciate everyone who's listening and following along with the journey. Remember, go to the iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a little thumbs up or a rating. It's really cool. Every time I go into iTunes, I check. We have a few more ratings. You know, we got a lot of ratings where people tap the stars. We got a couple ratings where people actually wrote us something. If you want to write us a little something in the comments section, greatly appreciated.
On Spotify.
Fully on Spotify. Changing a few things around with the hosting and where our content ends up, trying to broaden the reach, broaden the you know, amount of people that we're getting the content to. So, but anyway, we appreciate everyone, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah.
Yep.